I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network, and this is a breaking news alert. Judge Raymond Deary, the special master who was appointed in connection with the search warrant executed at Mar-a-Lago, has issued a new filing at document number 118, interim report and recommendation number 1. And in it, he put a lot of pressure on Judge Aileen Cannon, who initiated this process with her horrible ruling after Donald Trump filed his motion for judicial oversight and related relief. And Judge Raymond Dearie really called Judge Aileen Cannon out in this most recent filing that he made for making an inexplicable order where she removed his ability to file and submit these interim reports and recommendations. And he basically said after the 11th Circuit ruled that the Department of Justice could get their classified records back, you amended your appointment order of me as the special master to exclude those 100 classified records. And that, of course, made sense because that's what the 11th Circuit said. But in the amendment you made, Judge Aileen Cannon, you also removed some of my powers to submit these interim reports, and that has nothing to do with what the 11th Circuit said. So why are you doing that? Let me continue to make these recommendations and reports so that I could do my job. Judge Aileen Cannon backed down immediately and gave into the request that Judge Deary made, and it's just showing that Judge Aileen Cannon at this point has been utterly embarrassed. Like, she's now taking orders basically from the special master, which she should. I mean, the special master, Judge Raymond Dearie, was the chief judge of the Eastern District of New York, who's by far more experienced than Judge Aileen Cannon by decades and decades and decades, and of just logic and following the law. But it's just kind of interesting to see the tables turn now, where Judge Aileen Cannon has to like take orders from the special master because she has no clue what she's doing, and she's been utterly embarrassed by the 11th Circuit, and rightfully so, as being Donald Trump's stooge. But let's get into the weeds here a little bit of the filing so I can point out specifically where it says this. So on Section 3, Administrative Matters, Sub B of Judge Raymond Deary's recent interim report and recommendation number, again, it's document number 118, he says the following. In the original appointing order, the court, he's talking about Cannon, directed that, quote, the special master submit interim reports and recommendations as appropriate. Upon receipt and resolution of any interim reports and recommendations, the court will consider prompt adjustments to the court's orders as necessary. Then, Judge Raymond Dearie says this. However, the court later struck that language as part of its order implementing an unrelated ruling by the 11th Circuit, as the language quoted above as to the interim reports and adjustments to prior orders is consistent with the 11th Circuit's ruling and the efficient administration of the appointment order as amended. The undersigned, he's saying me, Judge Deary, respectfully recommends that the court, Judge Aileen Cannon, issue an order reinstating the language so that he could submit these interim reports. And then almost immediately, Judge Cannon at document number 120, she agreed, and she says this is a paperless order that happened really within like minutes of after Judge Deary made his filing. Judge Cannon said the court takes no other action at this time, recognizing that the order appointing special master authorizes the special master to file reports and make recommendations as appropriate. So she approves the staffing, compensation, and expense approval of the special master, which is some of the other stuff that was in his filing. The court takes no other action at this time, she goes, recognizing that the order appointing special master authorizes the special master to file reports. So what she's saying is you can still file your reports and make recommendations as appropriate, but you still see in there how kind of juvenile that she is, where she agreed that she was wrong, but she also didn't just say, I was wrong. She says, she goes, the court takes no other action recognizing that the order appointing special master authorizes the special master to file reports. recognizing it. Didn't recognize it because Judge Aileen Cannon actually struck that language, but now she's re-recognizing it, but not really admitting fault, but agreeing to what Judge Deary says. It just shows how juvenile, like it's a subtle thing, but shows how kind of juvenile and petty she is. But I could tell you a little bit more about this interim order by the special master as we go into it. So what the special master order also says, and this is that document 118 again, is it moves back slightly the deadline for when Donald Trump would have to submit the affidavits responding to the Department of Justice's inventory log. It recognizes that the Department of Justice submitted its inventory log as it was supposed to on September 26th, but because the plaintiff, in this case Trump, and the Department of Justice had trouble finding an e-discovery vendor or a vendor to kind of sort through the seized material, all of that material other than the classified records, the court agreed that while plaintiff's deadline for submitting the declaration or affidavit, again, this is Trump, is scheduled for September 30th, in light of delays of retaining a vendor to digitize the seized material, plaintiff's deadline for submitting that declaration is now October 7th, 2022. So Trump now has to submit his declarations under oath on October 7th. But what we've also learned, and we have another video on this because this happened in a subsequent filing, all these filings happen very close to each other, by the Department of Justice, is that the reason that there's been difficulty finding an electronic discovery vendor, this is the facts. No, this is what they say Trump's lawyers told the Department of Justice. Zero, zip, zilch of the 5 discovery vendors. These are different companies that do this for a living, that ostensibly, and I know this because I litigate, make a ton of money from these cases. None of them wanted to work with Donald Trump. Zero. None of them would enter into contracts with Trump because he doesn't pay his bills. So the Department of Justice had to come back and be the ones to enter into the contract and then have Trump pay them. But the Department of Justice would enter the contracts because none of these companies would work with Trump. That's how pathetic Donald Trump and his lawyers are, that they can't even hire the e-discovery vendor who doesn't want to work with them. And the Department of Justice has just alerted Judge Raymond Dearie of that. And so Judge Raymond Dearie knows what he's dealing with here with Donald Trump. Judge Raymond Dearie's been following law and order. He's completely different than the corrupt Judge Aileen Cannon. He calls Judge Aileen Cannon out, and we have a competent judge. Now, one of the things we also learned, and we did a video about as well, is that Christopher Kise, Donald Trump's lawyer, who was also a foreign agent of the Maduro regime in Venezuela, who got paid $3 million from Trump's Save America PAC, which itself is under criminal investigation by the Department of Justice. Christopher Kise has been sidelined and removed from Trump's Mar-a-Lago search warrant team. And I think the reason for that is because I think he was the one involved or had a role in selecting Judge Raymond Dearie. And now Trump is stuck with Judge Raymond Dearie, who is going to force Trump to submit affidavits under penalty of perjury regarding the documents, which essentially waives Donald Trump's right to invoke the Fifth if Donald Trump does indeed actually submit an affidavit under penalty of perjury. Would force Trump to stipulate and basically admit to the crimes, because he'd have to say in these affidavits, yeah, these were the documents that were found. These are the status of those documents. And by the way, that would be admitting to stealing the records from the government and hiding them in Mar-a-Lago. He'd be admitting to the crime. So he's serving the Department of Justice the criminal case against him literally on a fake gold platter. I would normally say a silver platter, but when it's Trump, we're talking about fake gold platters. But the Department of Justice couldn't be happier right now. I mean, they've got their classified records back. They're no longer being prejudiced. And now in connection with their criminal investigation, because Trump initiated this special master proceeding, he's the plaintiff. And now we got a special master ordering him to submit affidavits. If you're the government, this is the greatest thing you could ever want with a criminal defendant like this. Like, this is a dream come true for a criminal prosecutor, especially when you're dealing with someone as cagey as Trump. Like, Trump literally just put himself in the worst process possible It's a great news for justice, and it's a great news that Trump got the lawyers he deserved in this case. And for now, I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Hit the subscribe button right now. We just passed 600,000 subs. We're on our way to 1 million subs. And if you want to support independent journalism in this channel, go to patreon.com/MeidasTouch, patreon.com/MeidasTouch, and join one of the membership tiers with exclusive benefits. Until next time, I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network.
At MeidasTouch, we are unapologetically pro-democracy, and we demand justice and accountability. That's why we're spreading our message to Convict 45. That's right, gear up right now with your Convict 45 tees and pins at store.MeidasTouch.com. That's store.MeidasTouch.com.